Mark Hill from Greenlees. Theresa May's deal, yes or no? Now, I'm not opposed to Theresa May's deal because it would essentially close down the people's vote. I'm not opposed to it because it would deny the possibility of a second referendum. It would prevent those people who have been campaigning against Brexit, against leave as a matter of principle, because despite being a Green, I myself am in favour of Brexit. I'm in favour of us leaving the European Union. So I hope I can look at this deal, which is purported to be Brexit, with some objectivity. I certainly am not going to oppose it simply because it stops the chance of the Greens, the Liberal Democrats, the Scottish National Party, and the most strongly supportive, those MPs that are most strongly supportive of the European Union within the Labour Party, getting their chance to have another go. No, my opposition to Theresa May's deal is that it takes away the very principle of the leave result in the referendum, the very principle of Brexit. I work as a professional with small businesses that are mainly manufacturing and mainly exporting, and it seems to me that they have been doing really very well since the Brexit vote in 2016, and I'd like to see that success continue and accelerate as we seek to refocus our exports from the European Union, with whom we have a substantial trade deficit, to the other parts of the world that want our high-value services, our high-value export products. And the sort of places that we're talking about, they're going to want very specific agreements about things like exchange rights of workers, migration, mutual licensing recognition, particular deals on the products that they export. Britain is going to be in a far better position to agree to those terms, or to modify them such that we can agree with them, if we have an independent trade policy. And we don't therefore become stronger by binding ourselves to the European Union. For a commercial nation like ours, actually we become weaker if we are encumbered by the simultaneous requests of all of the other countries that are part of the European Union in dealing with a new trading opportunity. So instead, I think we should be focusing on our independence, and it's that independence which Theresa May's deal ends. We would no longer have the freedom to be able to negotiate the trade deals directly with new countries with whom we haven't had trade deals in the past, substantial ones such as China and India. Instead, Theresa May's deal would bind us to the European Union's commercial policy, that would bind us in particular to the customs union, which is surprisingly important, a piece of protectionist administration and regulation from a time long, long gone past. I would instead like to, rather than describe it as no deal or cliff edge or hard Brexit, I simply want us to have an independent trade policy, and that independent trade policy should include the things that we value democratically, which will include provision for workers' rights. It will include, particularly on those poorer countries for whom workers' rights are frequently a problem, and also environmental protection. And I want to see us cease to be as protectionist, as bullying as we currently are by being bound into the European Union. Instead, I'd like us to have an independent, democratically controlled trade policy abroad, and that means that Parliament itself is going to have to shape up. A lot of the turmoil that we've seen over the past few months has simply been that Parliament has not accepted the new responsibility that the Brexit vote gives them. That is to determine what is important for us to do in terms of trade, to deal with people directly, openly, honestly, and have the power to then enforce what we agree.